So I'm here today with Mark Ghermezian, who's co-CEO at American Dream. American Dream is described not as a mall, but as an ultimate experience centre and an indoor Disneyland right outside New York City. American Dream reopened on October 1st, and it looks set to redefine retail as we know it. So thanks for joining us today, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
So I just want to take you back to a pre-COVID world, and I wonder if you could just tell us about American Dream and what the vision was for it before COVID, when it's in its inception.
I think the vision for American Dream, even prior to my arrival, I actually joined in January of this year. But previous to me, it was almost taking the best of what 555 has done at West Edmonton Mall, what they've done at Mall of America, and bringing those together into one and creating it for the New Jersey and New York market, which is the center of the world. And I think it's just a lot of the know-how that we've learned over the last 30 plus years from the two properties and bringing those together. That was the vision, right? And I think the 555 has done a phenomenal job of being the pioneers of combining entertainment with retail. I grew up in Edmonton in Canada and watched my father build that center, and people thought they were crazy putting a lake with a submarine ride with a sea lion show in the middle of the mall. And then they took it a step further and built an indoor amusement park and a water park. This is 30 years ago. And still till, I would say, COVID hit, no one really appreciated what that meant.
Yeah, certainly 555 was certainly at the start of retailtainment as we know it, I think. And can you tell us about the leisure and entertainment that you have at American Dream? Is there anything you particularly want to highlight, anything that's particularly different or innovative?
I think, one, the architecture is unbelievable. It takes everything to a whole new level. In this day and age, with technology and architecture, it's unbelievable. When you walk in, you literally feel like you walked into a dream, and you're in a different world. And I think it's really amazing to have that feeling, not just in our attractions and experiences, but even in the retail setting. Outside of that, it's thinking about where we took our attractions. We developed the largest and only DreamWorks water park. It's unbelievable. I think when people think about a water park, they may think of 3 to 5 slides. This is 30 slides. This is the largest indoor wave pool in the world. We actually have surfing lessons that are taking place with professional surfers, which are saying these waves are awesome and I can do this year round. We then have Nickelodeon, which we have a Nickelodeon universe at Mall of America, but then you modernize it with the latest rides and technology that you could bring together in this experience, and it's hitting all demographics. You can go with your toddler, you can go with your younger kids, teenagers, and then even those people that really want to go on the roller coasters that are just spinning around, and you could spend a whole day there. So I think what we're excited about and what I'm noticing is like, how do we bring IP that's out there in the world? We did it with DreamWorks, we did it with Nickelodeon, and we also did it with Angry Birds. It's an indoor, obviously, mini golf, Angry Birds mini golf, and we just opened that as well. But for me, I think a lot of our guests want to go somewhere that is different, where they can interact with brands that they grew up loving and that can experience it in real life. And so we took all that and just brought it all together and made it a whole different experience, where the attractions is at the forefront.
That's really interesting. We see IP has been a huge trend in attractions of this last few years, certainly. And I wondered operationally whether there's anything that you've learned from Mall of America that you've brought, so you've done things differently in American Dream. For instance, I think in Mall of America, don't people pay per ride, whereas you've got a kind of one entrance to come into Nickelodeon?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing for me here is I really love Disney and the company and what they've done. I think there are very few that can emulate what they have put together because of how much content they have and IP they have, and just how magical of a place they've created. And I'm really working hard on how we do that here at American Dream. I think we have the right brand, we have the right IP, we have the right partners, we have the right retail, we have the right food to provide a whole 360 experience to every guest coming in. What we did differently, like you said, is a closed gate experience. You are planning ahead to come to American Dream. Our ticket sales are front and center on our website. We are pushing buying tickets in advance, well in advance. We're doing group sales all the way out to 2022.
Wow.
It's unbelievable, and I think we're trying to change the mindset of the customer, our guest who's coming to American Dream, where they're planning ahead, and it's not just like, oh, I'm going to go to the mall today. It's I saved some money for my family, and we're going to go to Nickelodeon, and we're going to come there. And we're going to spend the whole day there. We might even come back the next day. It's not just Nickelodeon. It's go to Nickelodeon for 4 or 5 hours, go eat, then go shop, and you get that whole 360 experience. And I think that's the difference between us and American Westminster Mall, where I think the entertainment and everything is kind of at the forefront. And then if we can execute on that by acquiring and bringing in really great user experiences and bring in people to plan ahead, and they discover the shopping, they discover the retail, those will flourish as well.
That's really interesting, isn't it? So it's a reversal, really. It's kind of entertainment first, and then retail. That's interesting.
And that's not just, I think, to answer your question around like what's different. I know we're focusing so much on the entertainment, but all our retail is also very different. And what I mean by that is they're all flagship stores. So the same way that you're kind of choosing, if you're choosing to go shop at Zara, you're going to want to go to the Zara that has the depth of the products and SKUs and the latest products that they've pushed out. And we have the largest Zara in North America at American Dream. The H&M is a flagship location. It's actually the largest in New Jersey. Uniqlo is a flagship location. Primark is the largest Primark in New Jersey. And it's been off the charts in terms of their sales so far. Lululemon, again, is another largest in the tri-state area. Our It's Sugar department store. Everything is an experience. And we push our retail partners to buy into the American Dream experience. And how are they going to create that magical experience for all our guests coming through, so that customer journey doesn't just stop after Nickelodeon or the water park or Angry Birds, or even doesn't stop at Zara, it continues.
But interesting. So if we move on to COVID then, so you just opened, American Dream had just opened when we were struck down and had to close. Can you tell us about how that's affected you and what measures you've had to take? So you closed down and you've just reopened, haven't you, 1st of October?
Yeah, so we actually had to close March 16th, and I think it was an interesting time for us to close because we were planning for our grand opening of the DreamWorks water park and retail March 19th. And we had a whole escapade of things that we were going to launch and things that we were going to do. And COVID decided to come, and we actually decided to close the center prior to the state requiring us to close. We felt that was the responsible thing to do for our dream makers. And by the way, we refer to all our team members as dream makers, and taking that out of the kind of the textbook of Disney with their Imagineers and their cast members. Again, and going back to the culture and what we're trying to create, this is a place where I'm a dream maker. the ride operators are dream makers, our leasing people are dream makers, marketing is dream makers, guest services, and we're all trying to create that amazing dream when our guests arrive on our property. But I think going back to COVID, it was, what are things going to be like when we open, and what's going to be important to our dream makers and our guests coming. And for us, it was safety. Safety was first. And we're uniquely positioned because obviously you're not just coming to the center to shop, but you're also coming for experiences. So we were already in discussions prior to COVID with Hackensack Meridian Hospital, which is a leading hospital and facility in our community. And we accelerated those conversations, and we first spun up a testing facility on our property while we were closed for first responders. We then started to talk about the partnership, and we ended up putting a 10-year partnership together where they have an urgent care location in American Dream, but they also were instrumental in what our guidelines are that we're going to create. What are we going to do for our dream makers, and what are we going to do for our guests? What are we going to require from our brand partners, like our tenants? And through that, we put the initiative that we refer to as internally and externally as the Dream Safe initiative. And if you go on our website today, you can click through to Dream Safe, and it has our full guidelines of what we're doing. And some of them are out of the box, social distancing, wearing masks. But how do we retrain our lifeguards at DreamWorks Water Park in terms of how do they interact with a guest that may need help? How do we train our staff, our riders, our dream makers, and our ride operators at Nickelodeon, our guest services, our security? And I think there was a lot of details that we had to put in. How do we properly train everybody before they come back? Where are we doing temperature checks versus not? So there's a lot of things that we put into place with Hackensack Meridian Hospital, which again, we hold ourselves as a high regard in terms of being the pioneers in the space. I also wanted to make sure that we set the table and set the stage of what guests are expecting when we open. We didn't want to just say, hey, we're doing social distancing. Hey, everyone's gonna wear masks. And I think that's what we did. And we didn't want to be first to open either. We took our time. We wanted to make sure that it was the right time to do things, when to open, how are other people opening, how are guests reacting to their openings, and really learning and educating ourselves on what the right thing to do is, not just trying to be the first to market.
Mm-hmm. And how have you found guests coming back again? Are they nervous? Are they keen to come back?
I think kudos to the team. We're doing a great job of communicating the Dream Safe initiative to our guests. Tomorrow will be our first full week, and it's been great. I've been really happy with how the team has conducted themselves with guests. Again, you're going to have a lot of people that don't want to wear masks, are not wearing the mask properly. But we are continuing to enforce it as much as we can. We do ask people to leave if they do not wear masks and they do not comply, which is hard, right? You're telling someone who came to leave. But the response and the feedback has been extremely positive with American Dream in general. Our ticket sales, we actually had to redo our entire ticketing platform to create sessions to allow people to choose arrival times, so we can do our best to create a safe environment. But our ticket sales, we are operating at 25% capacity across the board. In some cases, we're even going below that. Again, it's all about what's doing right. But the ticket sales have been selling out in many cases, which is great. I think people want to go somewhere with their families. And if we can create a space, a safe haven for families outside of their home, we're happy to do that.
Absolutely. And I wondered what you thought, particularly from a tech background. Everyone's got used to Zooming very quickly, haven't they? This last little while, used to apps and things. I wondered how you found that COVID might have accelerated So
Yeah.
adoption of tech amongst consumers, and have there been, in some ways, have there been positives to that?
Yeah, I think there's definitely been positives. My background is from the startup technology ecosystem. I love software. I love solving problems with technology and data. I love using technology to create a much more productive environment for our dream makers and our team and the company, and then also creating an amazing experience, using technology to create an amazing experience for our guests. It definitely accelerated a lot of what I wanted to do coming here. So one, we redid our entire ticketing platform to work into the needs of what we believe our guests are going to want, as well as the CDC and Hackensack Meridian Hospital helping us. So we redid that. We redid our entire mobile app. We actually sunsetted the one that the previous team put together prior to my arrival, and redid it. And more because I just felt, how do we become more transparent about safety? How do we use the app to get your tickets so you're not printing things? How do we use the wallet on iOS? How do we communicate through the app to our guests when we need to? And we haven't pushed the app out yet, but I hope to push it out in the coming weeks, where our Dream Safe initiative will be front and center inside the app. Moving on to e-commerce, I think a lot of shopping centers and a lot of retail has accelerated curbside and all those things. We're in a unique position where, because we run our retail of our attractions, so think of Nickelodeon, DreamWorks, Angry Birds, and there's several others that we run. My whole vision is, again, how do we build the next Disneyland, Disney World that's outside of Manhattan? And we're sitting on this IP. So just like you have Disney, shop.disney.com, how do we bring the IP front and center for our e-commerce strategy? So our e-commerce strategy isn't, hey, let's sell Lululemon or let's sell Zara, because I believe like you and me are going to go to Zara.com if we're going on e-commerce. We're not going to go to a shopping center's website to shop. But you will come to, we're uniquely positioned with American Dream because of the brand we're building and the IP that surrounds it. And if we can start selling the merchandise and the things that come with Nickelodeon, DreamWorks, and Angry Birds and others that we partner up with, I believe that's our e-commerce strategy. Separately, I pushed the initiative of live streaming, of live e-commerce. I've been paying attention a lot to what's happening in Asia and just kind of like that live commerce. And we've been testing it quietly at Mall of America. So I kind of use Mall of America as a testing ground. The team there is unbelievable. They've created a project that's out there and the leading project for the last 30 years. So there's so many things that we can test, implement, learn before we kind of push it out to American Dream. There are other things that we're testing as well, but I would say that's kind of like I kind of look at American Dream as this huge content creator. We have all this content in these four walls, and what can we do to break out of our four walls using technology? Whether that's e-commerce, whether that's live commerce, whether that's within the mobile app. There's a lot of interesting things that we could do with the American Dream brand using technology and the IP that we have surrounded ourselves with.
That's really interesting, isn't it? Can you expand on the live commerce idea then? Is that, so Alibaba do kind of live events, don't they, as well? Is that the kind of thing you're thinking of?
Take it a step further. So it's not even just live commerce where, for example, we would partner with Zara and say, today we're going to be in Zara and we're going to go through blouses or skirts or menswear or kidswear. And then you could literally purchase from your home, even though you're not living in the New Jersey or New York area, and we would ship it to you. But you could shop all of American Dream live. It's almost like there's episodes and you kind of subscribe to the category of episodes that you're excited about, or you subscribe to the stores that you're excited about. And we're always showing you the latest and greatest. So that's one area of what we can do in live streaming. But then you flip it onto the attraction side, we have shows. And could we do a live show with SpongeBob that the people that are there are viewing live, but maybe you at your home can pay a nominal fee to watch it at home as well? Do you want to go on a virtual ride, a roller coaster, and And can we have a talk like this on our app where we have Dream Talk, and we're interviewing, we're showing you behind the scenes of what we're doing at Nickelodeon or the water park, and thought leadership conversations like this that we could bring. Again, there's a lot of things that I think we're uniquely positioned to do, where we can demand the audience as well, just given the brand that we're creating, unlike other shopping center developers.
That's really interesting. So in the same way that sort of, like you're saying, that Lululemon or whatever have to go online, then American Dream as a mall can go online as well. Then that's kind of it's really interesting, isn't it? Yeah, because I think we've all heard about the sort of death of bricks and mortar shopping, haven't we? But
yeah,
I guess it's a way to re-energize it.
I look at it as if you can create great content within your center, which we can. I think, again, I don't think other centers can, because you're kind of limited to continue to create content with just retail. But if we can create really great content that our guests want to digest, I think we can demand it, and there's a lot of interesting things that we can do with it by combining food, retail, and the attractions. I think it's difficult to do one by itself, but when you bring them all together, it's almost like 1 + 1 = 3, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is, isn't it? And I know that you're in your previous company, is it Fourpost and Braze before that? I think you were looking more at data and customer engagement and segmenting your audience. Is that something that you're bringing as well to American Dream?
Absolutely. Like I said, I love data. I love using technology to solve problems, and the proof is in the pudding, right? So there's so much to dig into. The question is, like, I think a lot of, I would say, family-run businesses or corporate businesses don't have a full grasp on what technology is out there that they can be using and how to use it. So my unique background of coming from building a software company for the last 10, 15 years and working with the leading brands and how they're thinking about their customer experience, their customer journey, the lifecycle marketing, how they're thinking about conversion rates and the click-through rates and getting people to adopt and subscribe to their service has gave me this really different way of thinking about the shopping center and the retail and the entertainment business. So I'm really pushing my team on all fronts, on marketing, on our product and engineering team, around how are we going to bring the customer in at the top of the funnel? How are we going to talk to them? How are we going to convert them? How are we going to get them to become their own dream makers as well? And I think there's a lot of great technology out there that we can use internally to help us become more productive and continue to be that thought leader and pioneer in space.
That's fascinating. And just looking way beyond COVID into sort of the far future, is there anything around tech or tech that you're waiting to be invented almost, that's kind of you're excited about?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. Like I said, I'm excited about the live commerce. I think that's going to be incredible, and I think we're uniquely positioned for it. I think our ticketing platform and the platform that we're creating for brands to be part of when they join American Dream is going to be really interesting. So we're not just providing them space and brick and mortar. We can give them analytics. We can give them a ticketing platform. We can actually do pre-bookings and reservations. Even if you're coming to shop, we can combine that with our ticketing platform. We're building a really strong growth marketing team. We have a full product and engineering team that we've put together during COVID that's supporting not just the consumer side of things, but also supporting our internal departments with what they need to become more productive. So I think all of this combined is kind of the vision. I don't think there's one specific technology that I'm excited about. I think it's just technology in itself and the sector in itself. And when you combine and you kind of know, if you bring this and this, the domino effect it can create becomes very powerful.
That's fascinating. Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks for your time. That's been absolutely fantastic. And we look forward to visiting American Dream either in real life or online.
We look forward to it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.